Hello guys, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the differentials on the E55 AMG. There is two different types of differentials on these cars. This is the early type. It has a 10-bolt ring gear, and the later edition, the stronger one, has 12-bolt ring gear. It has a larger ring gear and it has a larger pinion. And another difference is that the early model has this flange type that goes inside the differential, and you bolt your half axles to this. The later type has these splines on the drive shaft itself. So this one goes right through and inside the differential. Both differentials are open differentials. They have no brakes or some way of controlling the wheel speed. It's just an open differential, and they control the amount of spinning with the brakes and the electronics on the car. This is the same on both types. This one had a hard life. The bolt that holds the planetaries are ripped in half, so this whole contraption is loose on this one. But that's why we have it here on the table and not in a car. So the plan now is to use the big, strong one, and since they have also had an accident on this, the ring gear is nice, but the pinion is quite damaged, so has damaged on the pinion gear. So bought a new set of pinion and ring gear for this unit, and we're also gonna upgrade it to the Quaife unit, Quaife Differential torsion diff. So this is it's not a locking differential, but it's a torsion diff. It will help on transferring the power on both wheels. Has a function between these helical sprockets. There is no plates or no clutches and not anything. It's pure mechanical device. It's super smooth. I have it on my own car. It don't make any noise, and it's super smooth, and it locks the rear tires perfectly on a daily driven car. And it's basically fill it up with diff oil, and you could only just start driving, and you can lean on it, you can abuse it a little bit, no problem whatsoever. These differentials are really strong, especially when you do this upgrade. This one can handle a lot, even in the stock form, but the smaller one, I have seen a fair amount of differentials that breaks, and what breaks, it's this shaft that holds the planetaries. This one breaks, and it makes this whole oval, and then it tries to come out like it's done here. So, and it messes up the whole differential. So if you got this one on your car, with the easiest thing to how to check if you have the small one, if you have the half axles bolted to the differential. If you have this one, I will really go for a Quaife update. You can get a Quaife unit for the 10 bolts as well. It will make it a lot stronger. So that's my main concern when it comes to the small differential, that it's really weak in the stock configuration. But if you update it to the Quaife, it can do its job. Even if you tune the car and get a little bit more out of it. But the absolute best option is to go for the larger one, do the Quaife conversion, and I think you can swap the axles. I don't think you don't need to do anything more than that. So it should be a nice modification to do if you have the early style differentials. Everything is bigger on the later model. The axle house support is increased to 60 millimeters from 55, and the ring gear is bigger, the housing is bigger, the pinion is bigger, everything is bigger. The only thing that is actually smaller is the bearings. You can see the bearing race that this one rides in. It's quite wide, and the same on the bigger differential. You can see the difference in diameter, but it is a lot smaller. That's because this unit is wider. So the casing has the same width, so they have to use a little bit more skinny bearings to compensate for that. So so that's the main differences. And in the housing, you have a taller gap in the rear. I'll put one up here so you can see. Just to make sure that you can actually fit the ring gear, the little taller ring gear, but the width of the differentials is the same. Just move it around a little bit. So here you have the early style type. It's nasty and dirty. You can see here has broken off tooths and pieces. So due to the damage of the planetary gear shaft come loose. So this one needs, if this one should be usable again, you need to change everything, as we do on the larger one now. So this one has a bigger, taller gap, but it's the same width. It's much bigger in diameter. So as you saw me showing you the bearings, so you need, there is nothing you can take from inside the small one and put into the large one. Everything is different. So this is the main, as I can see it, it's the main reason to upgrade. It's not a small upgrade, it's a huge upgrade when you think of how much performance or how much sturdiness you add to the car by putting on a bigger diff like this. So yeah, if you have any questions that you want me to measure, want me to show you, please let me know. Because this one I have tried to find some information on this on the internet, but it's not a whole lot. You hear on forums and stuff like that, there is a difference, but there is no place to see it, so I thought I should make a little video about it. So these are the covers. This is from the small one, and this is from the larger one. And you can see that it's a bit taller and has a different bolt pattern. So even the cooler fins that you put on this, they don't match the bigger one. There's a different type, and they look a little bit different as well, but it's a different layout. And it's a different hole pattern, or the distance between the holes is greater on the big one. I'll show. So this one goes like this. It's like the cooling fins underneath the car. And you see, if we take this, put it down here. This one has a couple of broken bolts in it, just to be sure. But you can see they don't match. It's about 10 millimeters off. I think it's due to that this will come way too low. It needs to come up here. So they made a different style of cooler for the newer version that has a different layout. Doesn't look like this. So this style fits only the small one, and there is a different one that fits the larger differential. So yeah, I think I covered the main reasons or the main differences. But please let me know if there is something else you want to be shown. These parts are the same on the large, on the small. The splines is the same. But the bearings, they are a bit different. So the diameter of the axle on the pinion is different. The diameter of the pinion itself, the pinion gear, is different. But the splines and this part of the axle is the same. So yeah, it's obviously that Mercedes found the first differential to be weak, and they needed to make an upgrade that could fit the chassis and the subframe without any modifications. So they need to have the same width and the same depth on the housing, but still needed a greater, better internals of the differential. And they choose to go this route and make it all greater dimensions, and everything is bigger and stronger, except from the bearings that sits out on each side. So I have seen more failures on the ring gear, the planetary gears, and the pinion. Never seen any bearing failures. So I think they made the right call. They tweaked it and made everything a little bit stronger, and Quaife as well. And you have also different companies, Wave Track, and probably more, that makes upgraded main units for this. And then I think you have a pretty bulletproof differential. A different thing is the bushings that holds this. Remember, the torque comes from the prop shaft, and it tries to tilt this one in the car. So you need to have strong fixing point, and the bushings, they're stock bushings. I like to change these to polyurethane bushings or aluminum bushings, just to make it a little bit more sturdy. And if you get some flex in the mounting points on these differentials, it has 4 mounting points in the front, and you have 2 in the back. That goes in here. This one, the bolt goes through some rubber bushings. This one is the one I changed out for polyurethane. Just because you want the diff to stay sturdy, to stay at its place, even under full torque. Because if this starts to move, you will have trouble. You will have all kinds of trouble with the angles. You will have a different angle on the prop shaft, you will have wrong angles on the half shafts, and everything just goes south real quick. So you want this to be sturdy, you want the transmission to stay sturdy, and then have strong internals and or a limited slip. It also works. But then you have all the maintenance, changing of clutches, and you need to have the right amount of slip fluid in the oil and stuff like that. But on a torsion differential, you have the mechanical helical gears, and they do all the work for you. So if you not plan to jump around curbs and stuff, a torsion diff will absolutely do the job that needs to be done on a street car. So yeah. So these ring and pinion gears, they come in sets. So when you buy them from Mercedes, they come in a box like so. This is the part number on my differential. This one varies a little bit between VIN numbers, so you make sure you have the right one for your car if you plan to buy them. They are sold as a set. This is because of the machining tolerances. So this part needs to be made and grind to accept this part, the ring gear. So the pinion and the ring gear needs to be from the same batch. So this one comes as a couple. And that's really, really important that you don't interchange a different ring gear to a different pinion. You will have all kinds of trouble. You will have noise, either on acceleration or deacceleration, due to mismatch between the two gears. And you will also have excessive wear as this one tries to grind themselves together, and the top layer on the steel that is really hard from the hardening process will wear off and start flaking, and then you have a differential that do not work. So if you plan to buy this one, it was not that expensive actually. I was positively surprised. So a lot of you guys have asked me how can you tell if the differential on the E55 is the large type or the earlier and the smaller type. As we mentioned in the video, everything is a bit stronger in the later version. You have better drive shafts or half shafts. You have greater dimensions on the ring gear and the pinion. You have more bearing surface. Everything is a little bit bigger. From my measurements, everything seems to be 2 millimeters larger in diameter. Also the axles, splines, and everything else. The one thing that is common is the input flange size. It's the same, and the flange or the splines in the hub is the same on both half axle sets. So you could take an early model differential, pull it out, and replace it with a set of the later, bigger version, but then you have to have the axles for that unit as well. It's a bit bigger job because the first unit had threaded flanges for the half shafts, so you can just unbolt them and then pull down the differential. On this later version you have to pull out the hub on one side to get the axles out, and then you can twist it down. it's a bit more work. But all in all, it's worth it because the later version is much stronger and will handle abuse or rough driving extremely better than the first edition. You also see this cooling fan. It's a different shape than the previous version. It's bolted into the back housing as a heat sink, and you can also tell by the half shafts that these are not threaded. This is just splined into the rear differential. So that's how you tell it. I've reached the end of part 1. This part was made to show you the differences in differentials that are used on the E55 AMG. And all the parts you will need to get the Quaife or some kind of other internal modification done. Part 2 will come shortly. It will be more hands-on, how to fix, how to set it up with the new Quaife unit and all the bearings and everything you need with part numbers and torque numbers to put together a new set of internals for this large differential for the E55 AMG. As always, thank you so much for watching, and please consider to subscribe and like or comment if you want to. It's highly appreciated. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.